Hey Hoovians, what's up? It's Friday, the day before our second episode coming out, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity now that everyone's had about a week to view the Bells of St. John. So this is a review for that. Basically, the episode opens up with people searching, various spots from restaurants, hotels, airports for a Wi-Fi connection, and they keep coming across this strange alien lettering to a Wi-Fi connection, and before anyone starts really clicking on it, we get this young Indian fellow giving us a warning that if you see these letterings, that they're dangerous and stay away from them. But it's kind of weird considering how does this guy know what's happened to him and what the consequences are, considering he's supposedly stuck within the system himself. But then we go into the credits, and when we come back out, we're set in Cumbrian in 1207 to find that the Doctor has taken residency in a monastery housing some monks that are kind of like, I'm guessing is about the same time period when the British were trying to convert the pagans and Druids of Scotland over to Christianity. So I'm thinking that's where that storyline, where that time period is. But anyway, the Doctor gets disturbed by the two monks, and pretty much the phone of the TARDIS is ringing, which is not supposed to. It's supposed to be just for show. It's not supposed to do anything, like with Ninth Doctor in freaking Doctor Dances and whatever. The phone rings and it's not supposed to. Anyway, so he answers it, and he hears a strange girl on the other side saying that she couldn't find it on the internet. And lo and behold, it is Clara on the other side, but he doesn't know that until she starts telling him what's going on. And you kind of see the both sides of the story of what's going on his side and what's going on her side. It kind of flips back and forth until he decides to finally help her. She's given two Wi-Fi connections to choose from. The surname of the family that she's staying with, and then the strange alien letter one. So first she tries, obviously, the surname one, because that's the people she's staying with, and the passcode that she's given is it's RYCBAR123. And of course she can't remember that, so she tries to put some sort of little spin on it to remember by saying her infamous line of "Run, you clever boy, and remember." But she still mistypes it. She puts she does the first part right, but then instead of doing 1 2 3, she does 1 2 4, and it boots her out. And she decides to click on the second one, thinking that will help. And all it does is alert this company as to her location and to track her down, pretty much. Because then we are then taken to where like a huge room full of mini TVs and the faces of all the people that have been captured. And if you I've come through this part where they show all of the TVs. If you actually slow down, there's two TVs where two guys look very similar to Craig, and I don't know if that has any coincidence to it. Maybe Craig got captured, or they're just two actors that look relatively similar to the guy that plays Craig. So we'll see. I guess maybe later on if that has any bearings. But then when the Doctor hears, obviously that famous line, he goes rushing off to Clara, and he's looking a rather mess and still in his monk costume. And of course she doesn't recognize him, and he tries to introduce himself as the Doctor, and she's like, "Doctor who?" because she has no idea who he is. But as soon as she says Doctor Who, he actually gets kind of turned on by it. That, you know, for probably the first time in a while, someone has actually said it, you know, out loud like that, and he's actually kind of fancies the way she, you know, she says it or whatever. Then it switches over to, it takes us back to the company, and we see them wanting to upload her, and they want to upgrade her, giving her the computer package, so she would have more knowledge of how to, you know, use computers and so on. While this is going on, they decide, you know, to send this, it's called the Server, but their nickname is Spoonhead. And they decide to find something that she can identify with, and they choose the little girl from the book Summer Falls, which was written by Amelia Williams, who is, of course, as we know, Amy Pond. So they take the little girl and they, you know, pretty much attach her to this like robot thing to pretty much suck out her soul and put her into the system. While this is going on, we see the Doctor, you know, obviously rushing into the TARDIS to change, because he figures, you know, at least if he gets, you know, properly dressed, then maybe that will, you know, help some. But even so, he goes in and he throws off the monk costume because it's uncool, and he, you know, goes into his cabinets and he throws out, you know, a bunch of stuff. But then we see the fez being pulled out, and he puts that on for about a minute and a half, and then he takes it off. He turns around like really quick, and he puts on his suit and pulls out a cool little case with a matching bow tie. And then he holds up these two jackets. He holds up the tweed in one hand, and he holds up the purple long coat in the other. And he, of course, decided to go with the purple long coat, and hence now we have the new costume. Let's see. So once he gets changed, he rushes back to the house and tries to still convince her to let him in and whatever. But at this time, it's kind of too late. She's been sucked into the server, and she doesn't know where she is, and she's crying out for help. And so the Doctor, you know, jimmies the lock with his sonic screwdriver, busts in, and he goes upstairs. He sees what happened to her, and he basically he gets her computer and hacks into the data software or the security or whatever of that company, and within like lightning speed he has her back. It is so amazing to watch him type as fast as he types, and you know, and then we hear the music in the background. It's kind of like almost like adrenaline rushing, that, you know, who can type the fastest, you know, who can hack the fast and save her or condemn her. And of course the Doctor wins, and he, you know, types the fastest and gets her out and gets her soul back into her body. So once she's back in her body, he puts her to bed, and kind of, you know, in a fatherly way, he like tucks her in the bed, gets her a glass of water, gets her flowers. He even gets her some cookies, biscuits, the Jammy Dodgers, and of course, you know, he can't resist but to at least try to eat one of them. But then while, you know, she's sleeping, he's rummaging through her things and finds a book called 100 Places to... Let's see, what was it called? It was called 101 Places to See. And in the book there is a red leaf, an envelope with the initials DELSA. Because it's like through like a couple pages she's got like bookmarked. There's like a couple pages in the back that are bookmarked with like some like paper. Then there's another one that's bookmarked with a leaf, and then there's another one that's bookmarked with an envelope. And on the back of the envelope it has those letters, and we're still not really sure what those mean, but I'm sure there's something to it. Now, the other thing that's really interesting is that on the front page, or one of the pages, on the back side there is an age range of how long she's had the book. It starts at age 9 and it ends at 24, but there's 2 ages that are missing, age 16 and age 23. This is very odd, and it makes me wonder what happened during those times. Perhaps those are probably the times when she was in Skaro and when she was dealing with the snowman. But we'll just have to wait and find out what Moffat has planned. But I'm pretty sure that's probably what probably happened. But we'll see. So once she wakes up from being unconscious or whatever for a while, she decides to go down and have a chat with the doctor and try to figure out what's going on. And he tries to explain to her the best he can that, what's going on with the Wi-Fi and all that. And before, she would have not really gotten onto it, but like she makes that joke about Twitter, which normally she wouldn't, because before she got sucked in, she had very limited computer skills. So that means obviously while she was in the software program or when she was uploaded, she definitely got the upgrade. So she's more equipped to handle computer stuff. So then all of a sudden we start seeing the lights around her neighborhood start coming on due to the people and the Wi-Fi around, and that basically makes the company more agitated to get her by sending a plane crashing down around like pretty much down where they are, and the doctor has to act really quick by grabbing her, pulling her into the TARDIS, and popping onto the plane within like seconds. There's like no time to even see what's going on around them, because they're pretty much just going through the TARDIS, through the going up the thing to the aisle of the plane, and then saving them by turning off the Wi-Fi and letting the pilots take over from there. And then once that's taken care of, the plane's taken care of, they're able to go to the next day, the next morning. They land in a street fair, or kind of streets show. So his magic or whatever, it's not as suspicious by doing that. And he pulls out his hat. He pulled out the TARDIS, and he gets money for their breakfast that day. Yeah, there was a street fair making out. The way that was magic, but basically it was a magic trick, and that he was using his fez to collect money for their breakfast. Then he does another trick by pulling out the motorbike from the TARDIS garage. Personally, I think that motorbike came from the 8th Doctor, because currently the only other Doctor to have had a motorbike was the 8th Doctor, and I don't remember if he returned it or not. I doubt he did, so I think he probably kept it. So I think he probably kept that bike and just made modifications to whatever he would need it for. But anyway, yeah, so once they, get on the motorbike and they get to the location of where they're having their breakfast, Clara pretty much, confronts him as to what, again, tries to, for a second time, to confront him on what's going on, and he again tries to explain to her. She gets a little better this kind of second, third time around, and she offers to help by hacking into the security of it, like deeper into the security, to find out the exact location of the company, because there's no name of the company that's known, and they don't know where they're located. So she decides to hack into all the accounts of the employees that are working there to find out exactly where they are, because pretty much the whole basis of this episode is social media, from Twitter, Facebook, all the other ones that are out there. And so because people, obviously put, where they type where they work, it's kind of easy for them to find out. And then on top of that, she makes a little snapshot with their very own webcams to place a face with, each one, and that was just so awesome. I thought it was funny, like, for 5 minutes they're, like, arguing about who's going to do it and who's going to go get coffee. So, let's see. Oh, also, we find out how Clara gets her Clara Oswald name. The Oswald part comes from her hacker name. So now we know where that comes from. It's a hacker name. So yeah, while she's doing that, he goes to go get the coffee, and he gets confronted by the barista, the server, the little girl, and the anchor lady, all being masked by the Miss whatever. What's her name? Miss. I had it written down. 1 second. Miss Kizlet. It's Kizlet. Anyway, so she's the lady who's running the company for the client that she's representing through this whole episode. And so yeah, she's basically speaking through these people at the doctor, saying that, him trying to stop her is useless, and that, pretty much all these people are cattle, and that, the client loves them as much as Burger King loves, cows, pretty much. So, but of course, we all know that kind of talk never works with the doctor. It never keeps him from, wanting to save the day and fix what's going on. And of course, while this is going on, a spoon version, a server cloaked version of the doctor tricks Clara into being taken once again for the second time, but this time she's taken like fully, like 100% into the system. So he has to send his spoon version self to the Shard, which is this big, tall skyscraper building type thing, to pretty much put the fear of God, or put the fear of the doctor in this woman, and pretty much gives her a taste of her own medicine by putting her into the system herself. And pretty much, even the second she knows that what's happening, she starts cowering and scared, because I think she figures, her client won't really care one way or the other if she's in there or not. So, she's just another snack or meal for the client. And so, finally, she, sees, the errors of, I don't know if she sees the errors of her way, but she definitely gives in to the doctor's demands, and she makes her, the people that she's working with, cooperate with the doctor finally. But on top of that, the spoon thing takes the iPad that they've been using and ups the consciousness of George, I believe, was her like right-hand man type of dude. And so they sent out, so they pretty much pulled the plug on everything, sending all the minds and the souls back to the people. And then it's as odd as it seems, the moment that happened, as soon as they all were set right, that's when Unit shows up, which is really odd, because you would think at some point before this, Unit would have been made aware of what's going on, but it seemed like they were in the dark. But also too, that it makes me wonder is if maybe if Unit was affected by this, because as we know, this was happening during present day, so like during 2013. We know that the following people are in the existence of what's going on is Martha. Martha's around. Gwen's around. Captain Jack's around. Sally's around. Donna's around. And Craig is around. Now, obviously, the people who would probably stay away from the problem or would be smart enough to avoid the problem would have been Martha. She would have been too smart to fall for it. Captain Jack and Gwen would have been too smart to fall for it. But I think Donna, unfortunately, since she doesn't know any better, her mind is wiped, she would be probably a prime target. But with that said, with this, Moffat may have given us the key how to get Donna back. If she was taken into the system and then put back and reset, we may get Donna back better than before. Because then it would mean she would be able to remember everything without the consequences of dying. And without any, side effects from that. The other person that also could have been affected by that would have been Craig, because no offense, I know Craig's a really cool guy, most people like him, but he's not exactly the the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes. So maybe he got impatient while at work and connected to it, and maybe that's why in that one part that I was talking about where I see two actors that look similar to him, maybe while he was at work he got impatient, connected to the alien Wi-Fi, and that's how he got stuck. But I'd hope not. I'd hope he learned from his lesson with dealing with the Cybermen to, click on anything that looked, peculiar. So, anyway, that sums up, this review. I think I'm going to start a new rating scale from a 1 to 10 TARDISes. I give this episode 9 TARDISes because it's so early on and we still don't know where things are, because I'm still not convinced this is an A to Z timeline. I think this may have some turns and twists and whatever. So if I don't know, I may change my mind in the rating when I see more, but right now it's at a 9. Moffat did a beautiful job. He did some awesome stuff. There's a lot of Easter eggs. If you have the chance to go back and comb through the episodes, I definitely recommend that, especially anything written by Moffat. There's a lot of things that he throws in just kind of sneaky like for example, I found also a Fourth Doctor style scarf by the mirror. That's the little security monitor that Clara was talking to the Doctor on. If you slow down the episode and look by the mirror, you can see a scarf that looks like the Fourth Doctor. It's purple, orange, and red, kind of like a burnt orange. Anyway, so yeah, if you want to go back and try to slow down the area, it'll you'll see the scarf